everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be what to do when you're feeling demotivated, and hopefully this will be really helpful for any PhD students, but I think it's equally applicable to really anything where you're feeling a sense of demotivation or when you want to get back on track with things. So I hope these tips will help you out. My name is Ciara, I'm a second year PhD student, so if you're interested in things PhD related or productivity related, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you know when new videos are uploaded. So I guess this comes down to a few things that have been going on for me. I don't really feel like for me the demotivation is coming from my PhD work. I definitely feel like I am motivated for my PhD, but I think I could be more motivated and I have been more motivated in the past. So mainly I'm going to be actually talking about the demotivation that's come with making videos and working on my channel. And I guess that's been something that I really wasn't aware of, the lack of motivation, until recently. So if you have been around this whole time, you'll know that I took about a 6-week absence from my channel, and it definitely was something that I was aware of at the time. I think the first thing that's important when you are feeling demotivated is finding the source of the demotivation. So I originally thought that the reason I wasn't making content was because I was spending time with my family, and that was sort of a contributing factor to this lack of content. And additionally, as I mentioned in my update video, which I will have linked if you haven't seen that, I also have been really busy with my drama school that I run. I thought that those two things together was sort of the main contributing factor. However, once I came home, I realized that I still, even on the times where I definitely had time to film, I still wasn't filming. So then it came down to other reasons for the demotivation, which I really needed to get sort of a sense of why that was the case. So this is what I recommend to you to do if you're feeling demotivated about something, or more so if you're feeling like you just can't do something, like you can't do your work, or you're feeling like you're blocked from doing something. So the first thing you want to do is to really reflect and think on what are the actual barriers stopping you from doing whatever it is. So I made a list of things that I felt getting in the way. One thing was my space. So my space before was really not optimally laid out to really get me to want to film. My desk was often somewhat of a mess, and so was my bedroom, and that was just because it wasn't laid out well. So I do have sort of a room tour coming soon once I have everything totally finished, because I haven't actually shared anything like that really on my channel before, and I do feel like it's something that I haven't done because it wasn't well laid out. But essentially my desk has now shifted so that now this back wall is the background that you will see when my camera is on my desk, which it is now. And it's also the background that would be there for Zoom as well. Whereas before, the way my desk was, the background was more like this. So you could actually see the door, and that was sort of distracting because for me it's nice to have the plain background when filming. So I usually would sort of sit at an awkward angle to get this background for my videos. Partially that made things difficult because it meant that I always had to rearrange things when I wanted to film. Whereas now, the way I have things set up, I'm always going to have my camera really handy, ready to go, and I can just set it up and start filming without needing to rearrange things or anything like that. So that was definitely a big barrier for filming, was the lack of consistency in my space. So I do think I've now overcome that. I definitely would like to do a little bit more behind me to make the filming space a bit more appealing to the viewer. But I definitely feel like it is a lot easier for me now to have this sort of setup ready to go. Same thing with my ring light. It was originally in a way that was just not handy, whereas now it's always in the corner and then I can bring it forward as I need it. And I often use that for Zoom calls now as well. So overall, I feel like my setup now for filming has been improved a lot, and I'm hoping that that will be a big thing that stops getting in my way for filming. Another barrier has definitely been a sense of busyness and just not actually having a designated time to film. So now what I have done is rearranged my schedule so that I have Sundays free, and the benefit of having this day totally free is that I don't have anything else I need to do. It means that I can take this time, and it's not like I have to rush to get a video done, but I will be able to film as much content as possible. So the plan is to film videos on a Sunday and edit and upload at least one, but to also film content for during the week, because I know that I don't have time to film content during the week. So I do have a video coming soon with my sort of new schedule for the rest of this term, so that you can see how I'm organising my time. Particularly time blocking is and always will be, I think, a big thing for me that works really well. And you'll sort of see that. So that is definitely a video I have coming soon. I think another big barrier for me was just generally not being in a good headspace. Like everything that's going on, I don't think I've been really taking care of myself because of obviously global pandemic still raging. And the main other thing, I guess, I've been really busy with the drama school. I've mentioned that a couple of times, but because of that I was busy beyond a sort of understanding of how that would impact me long term. And I definitely haven't been eating well or exercising, and that is a huge sort of element where it comes to motivation. Naturally, I think when you're doing mentally and physically not so well, you won't be able to be motivated to do things. So it's really important. I think I've mentioned this a couple times, but when you are doing something that's a long-term commitment, so a PhD is a 4-year approximately commitment, it's important that you do take care of your mental and physical health throughout the whole time, because it's going to be crucial for your motivation. And while I don't feel like I'm feeling demotivated about my PhD, I definitely could feel more motivated. And I think a lot of that comes down to sort of just generally eating well and exercising. So I think when I was down in Galway, I was still eating relatively well. But now that I'm home, there's definitely been days where I've been so busy that I've ended up like accidentally missing meals, or, you know, having longer times than normal not eating, which is really bad. And now I'm on a place where I know that I need to make that more of a habit. So I'm starting to get back into meal prepping and making sure that I always have food ready to go, and that I won't be in that situation again. Similarly, I've been feeling like not having the motivation to exercise because of busyness. And again, that is something that I have been scheduling now into my day, so that I do make sure I get a sufficient amount of exercise beyond walking Lola, because she's a small dog. Bringing her for a walk isn't sufficient exercise. So I've been scheduling that in. I also rearranged my space, as I mentioned, so that I actually have a good amount of space in my room to exercise. So again, that was somewhat of a barrier in itself, that I wasn't feeling motivated to exercise, and that's something that helps me feel motivated in general. So it's sort of like a continuing loop, where if you're not exercising, you can't be motivated, and then you can't exercise because you're not motivated, and it's just this ongoing thing. So I've rearranged my space so that I do have room to do that, and it is something that I'm really happy to be getting back into. And if you do want to see more content sort of about getting back into a routine and getting back into a healthy routine, do comment down below, because it is something I'd like to talk more about if you're interested. I think it's really important, especially with everything that's going on, to maintain that, especially in something like a PhD program. Another thing that has been a bit of a barrier for me with regards to making videos has been just sort of a bit of anxiousness with regards to filming. And it might seem a bit strange because I have been doing this for a long time, and well, a year I suppose isn't a long time, but I mean, in December I filmed for an entire month. I guess what's changed is that I now know a lot of people in my university are watching my videos, and I am very thankful for that. So I don't want to be saying like don't watch them, but it was just generally a bit stressful, just because of the fact that I definitely am someone who struggles with imposter syndrome. So I read this post recently by PhD with Laura on Instagram. I will have her Instagram link down below, because she's an Irish PhD student, and she has an academic Instagram, and I feel like she's so helpful. So I do highly recommend sort of checking her out. I don't spend much time on Instagram. Let me know if I should be spending more time there, because I haven't posted since like last July. So let me know if you would like me to post, what kind of content you would like to see. When I do go on, her posts always come up for me, because she posts so frequently. She made a post all about imposter syndrome, and I think it is really worth checking out, because imposter syndrome is definitely something I think most PhD students will struggle with at some point. One of the things that she said was to realize, obviously, that you're dealing with it, but to recognize what it is that triggers your imposter syndrome. And I think for me, I'm someone who definitely struggles more when I have some sense of things going well. So I've been feeling a lot of imposter syndrome about my YouTube channel, and because I've been getting positive feedback from people around me. And it's so backwards, I think, the way it works, because it should be something that reinforces that this is something that I'm doing right, but it just isn't. So it's not that I've been feeling like I don't want to make videos because I know there's people watching. It's more that I feel now having the channel is making me an imposter, and it doesn't make sense. I feel like imposter syndrome is so irrational, but yeah, I definitely feel like I've been struggling with that since people found out about the channel and have been so kind about it and so supportive, and that has actually made things, for some reason in my brain, harder. So that's something that I feel is a lot more challenging to overcome as a barrier than some of the other things, and I think it is something that will similarly be a problem generally in your PhD at some point. So I have been finding PhD with Laura's tips really helpful. So she says to make a list of all of your achievement and remind yourself that you got here for a reason. I think that is it is a bit more challenging for me to do that with the YouTube channel. So I have been trying to do that. So I've been like writing out why the channel has been, I guess, good, or why it's growing, but it is somewhat difficult, and I tried to look back at people's comments and sort of have that be a way to overcome it, but it definitely just is something that I think is going to be an ongoing thing. So I have been doing more mindfulness, and I've been using my Calm app a bit more to help with that, but I think that's going to be one that takes a little bit more time to fully come through as a barrier. Lastly, I think the biggest barrier for me, I think after Christmas, was not knowing where my channel is going or what I want to achieve with my channel, in a sense. And it definitely is something that I have had a mindset for before and have been aware of before, but I think it's more important that I set new goals for what I want to occur with the channel, or where I want it to go, or what I want it to achieve on its own. And I think that's really important, again, if you're feeling this sense of demotivation with your own PhD work, that you do something similar. So why you want to pursue your PhD, and how you think your life will change with that in mind. So I think that's all coming down to like a vision for whatever it is that your goal is. So if it's your PhD that you're feeling demotivated, putting together a nice little vision board for your PhD in a sense of what you hope to achieve during your PhD and what you hope your PhD will bring you in the long term. I think that's a great way, because you'll have a visual representation of what it is that you want, and that's something that I now need to do with my YouTube channel as well. So put together, I guess, some ideas for what I want to hopefully do with this channel, and where I hope it will lead me in life. And I do feel like there are so many opportunities that I've gained from doing this. I guess being asked to do certain things, I know it is something that means I'm getting myself out there more. So getting to participate in that PhD podcast by the PhD Life Raft, getting to participate in the PhD Summit, getting to do the Vox Pop for my funding body, getting to do anything like that. I know that these are things that will really help me a lot in the long run. I think this will be a really interesting avenue to explore the general idea of science communication as a potential career option for me. So I know that there's so much I can do with this, and I think I need to channel that into sort of some clear goals for what I hope to achieve through this channel for myself, as well as what I hope to achieve in terms of motivating more people to potentially start their own channels, but also just to get through the PhD, which is a challenge in itself. So hopefully some of these tips will work for you. Do comment down below if you have been struggling with motivation about anything, and what your barriers have been and how you think you might overcome those, because I would love to, I suppose, get some inspiration through you guys. So thanks so much as always for watching. Thank you so much to my wonderful members, and I will see you all in the next video.